going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown. And if you're new here, welcome. So, when you hear the words, the Atlanta Falcons, the quote-unquote worst roster in the league, is about to go on the road all the way from Atlanta to LA to face the reigning Super Bowl champs, Los Angeles Rams. You immediately think at first that this is going to be an absolute blowout from the Rams. And it's actually pretty similar to what this was last year. How last year the Falcons also had to go on the road to face the reigning Super Bowl champs in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now that game, we stood absolutely no chance. This year though, what's crazy is that if you compare these teams only to how they played last week, the Falcons should be the clear winners here. But we're not going to base them off of how they played only last week because it was only week one. You never want to overreact. The Rams are still the reigning Super Bowl champions. They could still very much prove why that is. But the Falcons also had a great performance last week. Some surprising performances from the pass rush and, the coaching staff, in my opinion, did pretty good. So this Falcons team does have a lot to prove. And this Rams team does as well. They're both trying to get their first win. It'll be an interesting matchup to say the least, but let's get straight into it. All right, so we'll first go over key additions for the Rams. Obviously, they did bring in Allen Robinson and Bobby Wagner. Now, both of them weren't really all that great last week, but still additions for the Rams. Like, they're at least names, I guess. Bobby Wagner is a good linebacker still, and Allen Robinson, when he can get a quarterback, which weirdly it seems like he never can, he's a good receiver. But they don't want to utilize him so far, I guess. But hey, still some names to mention. And then they do still have home field advantage. Now, yes, I know the Rams' home field advantage isn't like the best, but I'm just going to take a good guess and say that the Falcons fans don't travel as well as Bills Mafia. So I don't think the silent snap count like it was last week is going to be there as much, at least. Unless the Falcons fan base seriously just surprises and they are much better travelers than Bills Mafia. But I'm just going to say that the Rams' home field advantage should be decent because it's still kind of a far flight from Atlanta to LA anyway. So I don't know. I just wanted to mention that. And then the Falcons' key additions, they have a very strong run game, as I predicted. Cordell Patterson and Marcus Mariota seem to be pretty good runners of the football, and when Desmond Ridder gets a chance, he probably will as well. And this offensive line surprisingly played pretty well. So, I don't know. There's that. And then there's a new look coaching staff, and what I mean by that is they're clearly making adjustments. Dean Pease is coming off the booth to go on the field to start coaching, and it worked for a little while, but it worked for a long time, and Dean Pease, I think, is at least trying to make this defense work. And Arthur Smith, everyone's on his for some reason thinking he should be fired, and with all due respect, I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. I actually think he coached an elite game all of last week until, the very end where he should have gone for on 4th and 1. Sure, he obviously had some questionable calls, but I kind of think he coached an awesome game. So I think this coaching staff is a great look for the Falcons. But so are the Rams. They still have Sean McVay, and I don't know why I'm forgetting this all of a sudden, but I'm pretty sure Raheem Morris is still their defensive coordinator. I don't think anything changed. But if I'm not, shame on me, but if so, they still have Raheem Morris. So I guess it's kind of a revenge game for the Falcons to face him. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game, but let's go over what to watch out for from the Rams. There is surprisingly not that many things to watch out for, weirdly. But one of them for sure is still the pass rush. And that is mainly because of Aaron Donald. And it is absolutely insane to say that literally just one man could seriously be better than every other defensive line the NFL teams have. What? You can actually say that Aaron Donald is better. One single player might be better than a whole entire pass rush for an NFL team. That's how good he is. He still had a great game last week. I think he had one sack, maybe two. I just know that he was still typical Aaron Donald to where you basically just can't stop him. And the Rams pass rush as a whole is still good. Like, they still have Leonard Floyd and, how many sacks did they get? They got 2 sacks last week, and then I think 3 pressures against a solid Bills offensive line. So this pass rush is still pretty good for the Rams. I mean, they lost Von Miller, but it's still pretty good. And another reason we need to watch out for this pass rush is, I'm not trying to discredit the Falcons offensive line or anything, but let's be honest, we can't just base them off of how they played only in week 1, despite the fact that they did allow 0 sacks and then only 1 QB hit. That was awesome, and I didn't expect that, especially from what everyone said was supposed to be the weakest unit on the team over the offseason. But that's also the thing. People said that this is the weakest unit heading into the year, and even though they played excellent last week, it was like the greatest offensive line performance from the Falcons I've seen in a while. It's still only week 1. Yes, granted, it was against the Saints defensive line with Cam Jordan and Marcus Davenport, which are awesome players, but it's Aaron Donald. Like, this is like literally the biggest challenge you could get. Just one single man, and then you also got to watch out for Leonard Floyd. So they have a big test. If they block well this week, then, okay, I guess I'm officially in on this offensive line. I always was a little higher on this offensive line. I remember making a video going over why I was. But I'm also not going to act like I said it was like this great offensive line and it was going to, be amazing or anything. But still, though, like, I was a little higher on it. So maybe they have a lot to prove, but it's still something to watch out for is the Rams. Pass rush is all I'm saying. And then the other thing is the Rams secondary with Jalen Ramsey. Now, yeah, sure, like Jalen Ramsey still wasn't very good last week, and heck, he wasn't even good in the Super Bowl. So he wasn't good as of late, but at the moment, he's still at least considered a top 3 corner, so he could bounce back. And also, this Falcons passing game, if there's one weakness that I saw from last week, it would be this Falcons passing game. Like, Marcus Mariota just was not in sync with his receivers. And yeah, they're not utilizing Kyle Pitts. It's really sad. And even though statistically Drake London did great, I wouldn't really act like he got utilized all that much. So, this Falcons passing game against Jalen Ramsey, it's definitely something to be a little concerned about, in my opinion. Because then, you think Kadarius Hodge is going to break out? I don't think so. So those are things to watch out for. I guess as a whole, the Rams defense could still be very good. But what are some possible breakouts for the Falcons? There's actually a lot. I was not expecting that, but there kind of is. The first one is the pass rush. Not only did the Falcons pass rush have a great game last week with 4 sacks and then 8 QB hits, which is insane, against a mobile quarterback, Jameis Winston, and then a good Saints offensive line. And I was saying that the Falcons pass rush was the weakest unit heading into the year, but they just, I guess, proved me wrong. Like, they had a good week 1, and I know you can't base them off of how they played in only 1 week, but why am I saying that this could possibly break out? Because the Rams offensive line, let's be real, honestly just isn't very good. The Rams offensive line, I was aware that they only allowed 7 sacks. Well, not only 7 sacks. 7 sacks is a lot of sacks. And I think they had 15 pressures too allowed. But that was against a Bills defense, and credit to the NFL. I saw this on Twitter and on YouTube a little bit, so I didn't find this stat myself, but that was against 0 blitzes from the Bills. 0. Literally 0. The Bills did not blitz once, and they got 7 sacks and 15 pressures against the Rams offensive line. Let alone, this also counts as bad offensive line play from the Rams, but the running game from the Rams just wasn't very good either. So, the Falcons blitzing last week, and it worked for a long time. If the Rams could allow that many sacks and pressures from a team that didn't blitz at all, imagine how many sacks and pressures this team could allow with a good Falcons blitz. It could be interesting. Dean Pease likes to blitz, and that's been our identity for a long time now. You just gotta blitz. So if we blitz, I think you'll see a lot of great play from this pass rush. And then another thing that could bounce back here is the running game. Now, this is mainly just because I'm just high on the players we have running the football. Cordero Patterson, of course, and Marcus Mariota was a good running quarterback. And hey, maybe Desmond Ridder could step in and run the football a little bit. And then we have Arthur Smith, of course, the great offensive genius that remembers what it was like to run with Derrick Henry. So I guess maybe he can still run the football well here and coach it up well, is all I'm saying. And then also the Rams just were not very good stopping the run. Like Devin Singletary and Josh Allen had pretty solid performances on the ground. And then the last thing that could bounce back, breakout, I should say, and bounce back at the same time is the Falcons secondary. I mean, Jalen Hopkins and Richie Grant had a good game last week, but Casey Hayward and AJ Terrell did not. They were honestly trash. Like they were literally like a piece of garbage. But they're kind of like Jalen Ramsey. Like, you know, I still think they could bounce back. Like AJ Terrell is still at least a top 3 corner, and Casey Hayward is still a solid veteran. And he also used to play in this stadium, so I don't know if that's like gonna like motivate him to do better or something. I don't know. But also you got Matt Stafford with this like injury thing going on, and they just didn't really utilize Allen Robinson that much, so maybe they just don't utilize their receivers here. So this Rams passing game is also kind of a question mark, but overall, what are the keys to victory? It's pretty simple. It's literally just like last week. You just got to blitz and bring in great line play. I think the pass rush could break out. I think we'll see a lot of great play from the pass rush, but against Aaron Donald and company, I definitely need to see the offensive line step up. And if they block at least good here, then maybe I'll be in on this offensive line, because then you just got to play the Seahawks pass rush. Like, what's that going to do? Unless I spoke too soon, like Dean Pease does to the media. But if we can block well against Aaron Donald, then okay, that'd be great, because Marcus Mariota, well, this is also the thing we need to do well here. The passing game needs to be in sync. And obviously one way to do that is to have great protection, but Marcus Mariota does need to throw well. He did not throw well against the Saints. You just got to pass well here, like please. Like, yes, we can dominate on the ground and we can bring in pressure and whatnot, but if you're not doing well in the passing game, then it's either going to be an ugly win or an ugly loss. It's just like, just do well in the passing game. Score some points so Matt Stafford, possibly with an injury bothering him, and possibly the Rams not utilizing their receivers. They still could. I'm not saying it's just all of a sudden over for them, but they're not utilized recently. Take advantage of that. Score some points and block well. And bring in the blitz. And that's all I got. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Other than that, I will see you guys with a video this Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Love and appreciate y'all for the support. And as always, rise up.